do you want to do something really stupid? And she said, depends what it is. Like, falling in love for a night and then waking up outside of a petrol station. It's a weird kind of subculture, and that there's like subcultures. The AC/DC fans versus your Sabbath fans. I don't know if there's much of an overlap. So Westies are definitely bogans, but not all bogans are Westies. At the time, as everyone was getting into Slipknot, I ended up going a different route, and I was going to like symphonic metal, as long as it's metalcore that hasn't been poisoned by post-hardcore. This is usually reserved for special occasions. There's a woman about 4 tables away just fixated on staring at me. She had this $1 million view of the harbour right in front of her. Nah, I'm just looking at this guy with a tattoo on his head. There's a toxicity that exists where people try and be the biggest, toughest person. They're just dicks. But yeah, for most of us, we just enjoy some beers and some loud music. A lot of the struggles you're mentioning sound a lot like a lot of the struggles I was facing. You might want to go and get checked. I just thought I was an idiot. I think neurodiversity is a good phrase. Mental illness, not so much. One day we're at the pub, we get a glass of the Bogan Brown, I take my work boot off, pour that in, do a shoey, and then that made it on TV. If anything super unfortunate happened to me and I was no longer around, I'd say I had a good life. Heavy metal or beer, which one would it be? And I always thought, well, I had gins all right. Ben is the quintessential king of boganity.
Russell Crowe.
That's a hard one. You know what? I would give him the title if he admitted that he's a New Zealander. I don't think he qualifies as bogan anymore. Called Waiponamu, which means the waters where Ponamu comes from. And enjoy your life. Don't be too stressed out about what everyone else thinks. I don't have to try and make everyone like me. I don't even like everyone. Be a good cunt, not a shit cunt. Mish is my full name's Hamish. I introduce myself as Mish, so that if anyone's like, hey Mish, it's just my name. So there was actually a guy that genuinely thought my name was Mish, and everyone was just calling out to me every time they called me. So he, and through him, developed the name Mish. So, hey Mish, yo Mish, oi Mish.
Okay.
Hey asshole. Oh yeah, I am ADHD as fuck, eh?
Mm-hmm. How did you know you're ADHD?
I'm
not challenging your...
Yeah. No, I didn't until I was about 32. And then some of my mates who had been diagnosed, like actually a lot of the struggles you're mentioning sound a lot like a lot of the struggles I was facing. You might want to go and get checked. So for 32 years, I just thought I was an idiot. And that's where everything went wrong. But it turns out, all right, cool. My brain can only process a certain number of tasks. They can process those tasks really well, but if you add too much onto it, it's going to start deleting other tasks, and I won't recognize that it's happening. So it has definitely caused me a lot of problems in the past. But when I am interested and fixated on something, nothing else can stop that. That's all right. I need to know everything I can about this. So weirdly, beer was one of those things.
You want one?
No, I'm still halfway through.
Okay.
But I absolutely fell in love with beer. Most people were like, oh yeah, I like to drink too. Look, I don't actually like being drunk that much, but I love drinking, and I love, like, I worked in the beer industry for 4 or 5 years because I wanted to know as much as I could about it, how it's made, what different styles there are, what subgenres of beer there are, how they differ around the world, how different ingredients change it. So I got real into it and started my own little podcast of sorts called Bogan Beer Tasting.
Right.
At the time when craft beer was getting
booming.
Yeah, like massive, or like it was just starting. It was just ramping up. It was associated with a lot of like hipster culture. So the office workers that try and look like they're lumberjacks. Twirling their mustaches and wearing glasses with no frames in them. Those fucking wankers. So we as a bunch of just lower hut bogans who love to drink, love heavy metal, and had no idea what the craft beer industry was. We were essentially recording our reaction of trying beers and working out, navigating our pathway through the craft beer scene, having absolutely no idea what we're doing. But then we kind of stopped when a couple of us really fell in love with beer and started working in the industry. And then it was real hard to pretend that we didn't know what we were talking about, because it was our job to know what we were talking about.
Right. Where do you work?
I used to work on the brew team for Panhead. I was a cellar hand for them for just over a year. Then I moved into Black Dog Brewing, which was on Cuba Street at the time. And they were owned by DB, which was owned by Heineken. So over COVID, we got shut down. So I moved from there. I did a couple of bars here and there, and then I moved to Boneface Brewing in Upper Hutt, and then I was a bar manager for Teatro Brewing in Upper Hutt, and now I run the axe throwing venue in Brewtown, Sweet Axe Throw. So I've gone from beer industry to throwing axes, which is definitely worse jobs out there.
Yeah. Going back to your ADHD.
Yep.
When I was messaging you and you said one time, like, you need to make sure I text you in the morning because you will forget.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I already have a suspicion there. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion. I need to remind him from time to time.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think again, woke up this morning like, oh fuck, that's right, I'm doing that today. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Not that I'm judging you. Trying to be more conscious about my surroundings. At least I know someone thinks differently.
Yeah, being more it's like accessibility conscious, I guess.
Yeah.
It's saying that if you make something accessible for a group of people, it ends up being more accessible for everyone.
For everyone. It's getting more exposure, right?
Yeah. So I love it.
I love the same thing that's been happening with the neurodiversity as well. Like, it's getting more exposure, so people are now getting more attention and giving more attention to it. That it's part of the community. They're human beings too. You know what I mean?
And the more attention neurodiversity gets, the more tools become available to help navigate it. I was going to say deal with it, but it's not only something you deal with, it's something you navigate. It's not, I think deal with makes it sound like it's always bad, but it's not always bad. There's definitely great perks to most like neurospices. And I think, removing the stigma of thinking like I don't like calling it, I think neurodiversity is a good phrase. Mental illness, not so much, because it's not an illness. You're just different, and it's fine. Everything would be boring if we were all uniform.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask you about your superpower. I think it's overrated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you about what's your special interest.
Oh, I mean, like beer had been one for a long time, but I think I've gotten as much out of it as I want to, and so now I'm moving on. At the moment, like, I love video games. That's always been my escapism tool.
What kind of video games?
I used to be a big like online shooter guy. But now, as I'm getting older, I'm much less interested in dealing with other people, and I like just a really good story. And so just a single player, awesome story is my go-to. Like, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is probably the best game of the last 20 years.
Have you seen the Last of Us?
Yep. I don't have a PlayStation anymore, but that was always on the list. I briefly had a PS5, and then partner at the time and I split up, and she took the PS5. So so I never got around to playing Last of Us, but I want to. I love the show as well. It's good to see video game shows that are good. We used to have a problem where most of them were not good. At the moment, I'm at a point where I'm trying to find the next interest. So you've got me in a strange crossover period. I think, like, heavy metal has always been a massive one for me. I always had a joke with my friends. If they said, all right,
where was I?
I have a feeling the wasp's in my hair now.
No! Yeah, I can see it. That's why that's why I got lost there. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, I just forgot. This one is black. And is this a bee?
That one is a wasp.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there's an ant. Weird.